morning. Today we're going to do a scrapbook page for that lovely picture we took the other day of Alice in the garden. So what I'm going to do is I've got this is an ATC gun, and you can get them with different tapes, but they're really quick to use, and I'm going to show you how to use this. You don't have to use this. You can get this is from Poundland. It's just a double-sided sticky tape, so you can go in and get that. You can get this one I've got from online, but it's a bit more expensive. This one, no matter what you do, it won't come unstuck once it's on there. Okay, that's going to stick on and that's going to stay on there. That's a little bit harder to remove from the actual tape reel, but it's really, really good, you know. So if you want to use it and keep it and last it forever, you can use that. You can also use prick stick. Prick stick sticks it really well, so if you wanted to use some prick stick, you can use that. So what you want to do is place it on. Now I've pulled out a piece of my tape, and the tape is now on the outside. You don't want it going that way round. You want it going so it's going around with the tape on the bottom like that, so it's going to come and roll off the bottom of it. Click it on and it'll just hold it in place there. Now the tape itself wants to go around this piece, so you're actually going to touch this is the sticky bit, look, and it's going to touch onto that roller there, and you're going to bring it around and you're going to get it around on that roller. I've got a bit too much tape, let's just pull it back a bit. One, a bit more. Two. There. I want it to be so that the start of the tape is just on that roller there, a bit further back. That's it, okay? So you're just there. That's the beginning of my tape there. I don't know if you can see it. If I roll it back a bit, you'll be able to see it. Look there. Okay, so that's the beginning of my tape. Right, and I'm going to pull it around, and it sort of sits on the back of the tape like that there. Okay, so when you put it on, okay, you've got your sticky bit of tape there. You're just going to come on and stick it on like that. Just like that, and you want to keep it so that it's sort of in line with where that tape is there, so it's nearing the bottom of it like that. Okay, so that's sort of running around and it's nearing where in line with that tape is. All right, so that when you go to pull it now, let's just pull that one back a tiny bit. That's it. Right, so when you go to pull it now, can you see that piece of tape? That's where the tape is starting. All right, I've bunched it up so you can see it a bit better. All right, can you see that? Hopefully you can. All right, I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper just to show you, and I'm just going to take that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pull it along like that, and it just comes out. Okay, now when you want to stop putting your tape on, you have to take your finger off here. All right, so take your finger off and then just pull your tape up, and that's it, and it's on. So you can see how easy that will be to stick things on, how much easier and how much quicker it is. So I shall put that one to one side, and then we shall start having a look at what we've got to do today. Okay, so I've got this lovely paper. I've got some nice letters. Now these are actually all pressed out, the letters, so you can they're like sort of, so you can just push them out. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see? You can just push them out, and they're sticky on the back. Don't have to get these. I just happen to have this set, so they're really quite pretty. So I thought those would do nice for my letters because it sort of goes in with the paper. It came in a little pack. It wasn't very expensive. I've had it a while, but you can get lots of different papers like this. This was another sheet which came with it. It came in a sheet, and they were just all put together like that, and I just ran the guillotine across and cut them up. So I thought those were really nice. And these are the rest of the paper. So it's a lovely owl one and another owl. I think there was two of each paper. That was the front cover. Now I often keep the front cover because I like to chop up. You can always chop this up and use this as different bits and pieces as well. So I always keep the cover of the pack, and it was called A4 Ultimate Die Cut and Paper Pack. All right, so that's where I got that from. I only got that from the craft store, but it's from Paper Mania Do Crafts. Okay, there's a little owl. Now there is a place online, one of the Facebook groups, which They sell all their like declutter your stash or something like that it's called, and you can join up to that, and they sell all like scrapbook papers and that cheaply, so you don't have to go out and buy anything expensive. You can just go on there and have a look for somebody who's near you. Also look on Facebook Marketplace, you know, they're good. So for scrapbook paper, and actually you don't want to pay a great deal if you can help it. Now this Paper Mania stuff will be acid free, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you wanted to just make your own up, you can just go online, find some pretty design online, put it into your paint program on your computer, and just print it up onto an A4 sheet, and there you go, you've got your scrapbook paper. But that won't be acid free. So the reason why we have acid free is because if you want to save this for a really long time, your photographs can be distorted by the acid in the paper. Okay, so then I found these lovely stickers. Okay, and I think it says glitter embellishments. I don't know what craft, is that boutique? Yeah, craft boutique. So that one, so those were quite pretty. I found those, and then I just picked up some random embellishments. I quite like these little diamantes. You can just pop them here and there, you can cut them up and different things. Those are quite nice. There's some other sort of that roughly around the same sort of colour, so you don't actually have to have what you want, but I felt those would go nice on with those coloured papers and that, if you were putting them onto there. You can see that sort of, especially with that bluey sort of tinge to it on the I don't know if you can see the bluey tinge on there. If I move it around, you can see it's got like a blue tinge to it on this glitter. And that's another thing, if you don't like and it's not quite the colour you want, you can get some stickles. Now they don't sell Dovecraft into Poundland, but they do sell them into Poundland, all different ones. And you can get all different colours, and you can make them into whatever colour you want them to be. So that's really good. So if you sort of like that was like that and you thought, oh, I wanted it to be a bit more green, you can just put tiny bits of green onto it. It takes a while to dry. Excuse me, it takes a while to dry, so you could do that again. It also, like, that's all that's they put on there is exactly the same stuff, but they've added a diamante, so you could just add a diamante, and they sell these sheets into Poundland, so you can just add a diamante like that, and they've got glue on the back, so you just stick them on. Okay, so that's just another idea. They also sell little things like these tiny things here. I don't know if you can see those. Those are little diamantes, and you can get all different colours in those. I mainly buy them for the bottles because I like the size of the bottles for the dolls. But you know, you can use those. I would buy that. Most of them I've got in. I bought a little box, and I would chip that in, and then I would just use the bottles. I've got a little box which has just got individual tiny squares in it, so I tip that in, but it's full, so I'm going to get another box later next time I go down. So you could use those and make your own embellishments up, because that's nothing. You could print out on a piece of cardboard those shapes like that, add some stickers, and you know, put your own diamantes in. So as you can see, I mean, obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive to start off with, because you'd need to have a piece of card, you'd need to buy the stickers, which are £1, and you need diamantes, which are £1. But once you've got that, look how many different ideas you could make out of it. Okay, so that would start you off. Okay, right, so I'm going to go from here. One more thing I had, I found as I was going through with these lovely owls, and the Chaplin's is a little shop in Plymouth, which is just a it sort of sells, it's a bit like the shop which I showed you the other day, the biology shop, where they sell all sorts of bits and pieces, but upstairs they have got a crafts section as well. So have a look around, because quite a lot of these sort of DIY crafty cheap shops, I want to say, will have stuff like that, and they seem to be all over the country. If you type in shops like biology, which is where the video was from on Sunday, or shops like Chaplin's and that, sometimes ideas come up with places like that, another place to go, and if you've got one near you, and most places do, is called the scrap store, and they're really good for bits and pieces, but you have to join, I think, but they have such amazing good value stuff. So yeah, so right, let's get started then. I don't know whether I showed you actually, well obviously I didn't because I've got them here still. This is last month's photograph, which we took last month for Halloween, and I only just realised I didn't stick it in. I only opened it, realised that the photographs were in the book and I hadn't have stuck them down, so I'm just going to put them in. There we go. So that was last month's photograph of all the dolls in their Halloween outfits. Hopefully, let's see if you can see that. So that's that one. So that one says happy, and that one says Halloween. So that's all the photographs together in the album. I didn't realise I didn't stick the photographs in until I actually lifted up the album. So those are ready to go back into the album. So what I've done is, now my scrapbook album is a funny size. The pages in here, let me see what were they again. They were 8 3/4 inches, which is just over 22 centimeters, by just under 8.5 inches, which is just over 21.5 centimeters, which is a really strange size. If I was you, I'd go for something like an 8x8, because if you get an 8x8 you can use any A4 paper in it, whereas obviously you have to use a 12-inch paper, or you have to do what I'm going to do today. And I wanted to do this today anyway because I wanted to do something slightly different. Okay, so let's put that out the way. So what I've done is I've taken some of my paper and I've chopped it up because I really liked the way this came in the folder, the way it all came with these lovely strips of different patterned of the paper on there, and I thought, oh, I could make something just a little bit different with that. So I've taken those, which are quite thin, and then I've taken, so this will be my actual page, and as you can see it is not the same size as the page for the book. Let's put that over so you can see that's the size of the page for the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper so it works out the same as the page. So I'm going to line that up, those two pieces of paper I've cut, and then I'm going to put my other piece in. I'm not going to worry about this piece on the bottom because I'm going to have some embellishments down there. Okay, so that will be my lineup. Don't worry about this because I'm going to put a load of embellishments on there. Now, if you don't want it as thick as I've got it, you can cut this down and make this smaller. You don't have to have a bit as thick, and I think I will. I think I'm going to cut it so that it's only that size there. So I shall just take that to the guillotine. Now, you do need a guillotine for doing this, but you don't have to buy an expensive one like I've got. I started off with just an ordinary little rotary cutting guillotine. You might find that you can go online and somebody in your area on Facebook Marketplace will be selling one. What you want to look for is, if you've get a guillotine, you want to make sure you've got the protector. So I need to just line those up with that piece of paper, okay, underneath. And then I need to make my picture the same, my paper the same size as that piece of paper underneath. So the way I'm going to do that is I'll just make a bit more space. Start off with, I'm going to use this as my pattern. I'm going to push this out of my way a minute. Now, let's have a look. This is my drawer. Now in here, what I do is I keep all my scraps of paper which I've cut up, of patterned paper, and these are brilliant because you can use them over and over again to do this sort of pattern. So I keep all bits and pieces of the paper that I've cut. I don't keep tiny pieces, but I do keep pieces which, you know, I think, you know, I can use again. So I'd keep them in this drawer all together, and then you can always pick it out and you can make different patterns, because look, that's going to make a nice pattern onto something. So I've got that one on there. So that's my drawer of scraps. So I've cut out my pieces of paper, and I just cut this, I think about just over an inch, because I just needed to get it. And even after doing that, I don't know how I managed to cut it the wrong size. So what I've done is I've just taken the paper, cut out an owl, fussy cutter all the way around him. I'm just going to cover that up there by placing the owl over the top of it. Now if you wanted this to be sort of more dimensional, you can put a sticky tab underneath it, but I'm just going to have him laying flat just like that. So just a tiny bit of tape in there, pop this end of his tail just there, and then you won't even notice that was anything wrong there. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I've cut my pieces. I've cut this one slightly smaller. Just realised I've cut the page the wrong way around. Have I cut the page the wrong way around? Oh, that's okay. That's right. That's it. That one on there. Yeah. And then that one on the bottom like that. And I'm just going to try and work out how I can get that just a tiny bit smaller. I still want to keep them as much of the owls in as I can, but I want to get it so that I can get a little bit shorter, because that one's quite short. So I'm just going to play with that and see if I can get that to be a tiny bit shorter there. Now if you've got a guillotine, it's probably got lines on it where you can sort of put your paper onto it, cut, so you can sort of cut along those lines, because once you get over that bit where you can sort of measure, keep it flat up along the end there, it's quite hard to get a straight cut with the smaller pieces. So use the lines actually on your board. Now if you can't do that, it's just going to be judging it by eye to get it in the right sort of position. That's not too bad, I don't think. Okay, that's better. That's good. Yeah, that's a bit better size. Okay, so I'm just going to come in with that, and as you can see, is that the right size? Let me just check again. That's no, I have got that the wrong way around. I've cut that piece of paper that way around. Okay, right, so it's going that way along there, and then that way along there like that, and that'll sit over there. And I'm not too worried about that sitting over there. If that doesn't look right to you, what you can do is just take your paper and cut out another owl and stick him on the end like that, or take out any type of thing and stick it on the end. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to line it up on my board. Now I want it to go on this side, so I'm going to line it up with the, so that's my side. So I'm putting my sorry, start again. Okay, so these are my lines on my board, and it has to be, the depth from top to bottom is, I think it's 8.5. So I'll line it up with the 8.5 mark there. Alright, then I'm going to pop my paper and I'm going to put it on like that, and that will give me the exact placement of where I need to place that paper. If you do it wrong, don't worry too much, because you can always put another piece of paper over the top of it, or you can add like a little embellishment on the side, because I might like to add another owl because that looks so cute. If you find that you've got glue tape coming across the top of your paper, just take your finger and roll it down over like that. So I'm placing it on my, making sure I haven't moved it, just did a tiny bit there. I'm going to place it into the position where I want it on that line, and that should get me a nice straight stick down on there. Okay, and then this one we're just going to place here, and that should stick down as well beautifully. And if you find here, look, I don't know if you can see this bit right down in the corner here, look, can you see it's just come over? You can just go over and trim that. I'm just going to push it down a tiny bit more so you can see this side bit. So I'm just going to actually marry that up to the very side of the paper. Let's do that. Put my tape on. Okay. It's much faster for me if I'm doing a video to show you to use that, because you don't want it to be knocking around when you're doing the video. That's it. So just come down and place it onto the card. There we are. So that's come out nice. Now if you want to now, as I say, you can go ahead. I'll just fussy cut out this little owl here. And this is what I'm doing. And so you could fussy cut all of these out and you could make these into embellishments. So the owls could be your embellishment. You could cut out those lovely flowers. There's all sorts of different bits, and then you could just make them up into just like the owls we had on those other bits. You could put some stickers on them, put some diamantes on there, and now you'd have a little embellishment. And then I'll get you out some, I'll show you some foam tabs in a minute which you can put underneath them. They sell those into Poundland as well. If you are going to be using anything sticky, do not use your scissors. Get an old pair from Poundland or anywhere, a cheap shop. Just a pair of cheap scissors, and use those to use your glue and all that, because even though you clean it off every time you tape your glue and all those sorts of things, you get like a residue on you, and also it can get quite rusty as well. Now these, I love these. I'm nothing to do with it, so but these are Tim Holtz, and that comes from the Tonic Studios. Yeah, and I think I paid £5 for them, and I've had them a good while, and they're just absolutely brilliant. They're lovely. This is really soft rubbery type stuff in your hands. As you can see, it fits really nicely. They cut beautifully right up to the very ends. And so you can just get snips with them. I even sometimes cut fabric with them when I cut from my fabric scissors. But yeah, so that's brilliant. So I'm just going to get that owl I've cut out. There he is. I couldn't see him for a minute, and place him on there. Alright. He's just going there like that. Okay, there you go. Right, so that's our 2 pieces of paper already. Let's see, I'll just move it over a little bit. I'm going to take that out of the volume next. We don't need that now. So you can see those a bit better. So we've got our 2 pieces of paper. Right, so these are the photographs we've got. I've got her just stood there in the garden like that, and I've got her looking like that. But I also have this photograph, so I could do sort of almost like a collage of 2 with that one if I wanted to. I think that looks quite nice, so I might do that. So I'm going to put that like that. Now what I want to do is, we've got some just very plain coloured paper here. In the pack it came with some just basic flat colours, and I think the blue would be good under this one. So what I want to do now is cut this so it's about 1/4 of an inch all the way around the outside of the photograph. So we've just, so it's sort of like mounted up. So that one for that one, and the other colours they've got a purple. I think that brown might be nice with it. Yeah, I quite like that brown with the orange. That's quite nice. I'm going to put her like that, and then I'm just going to have that one like that on there. So I need to go 1/4 of an inch bigger than my photograph, and my photograph should be 4 inches by 6 inches. So let's just have a check on that. I like to check just each time, just in case. So that is 6 inches by... Oh, it's quite slightly bigger than 4 inches. How strange. I cut that down to 4. How very strange is that? Is that 6 inches exactly? No, I'm going to get that down to 6. So I'm going to cut it at 4 by 6. And there you go. So I'm just mounting my photographs. So what I like to do to mount my photographs is I just want to put a piece of tape across the very top like that, nice and close to the edge. Then lay it on my board. You can use your measures on your board if you want, just to get an idea of where you are. You want to come down just 1/4 of an inch and try and get that so that's lined up with about 1/4 of an inch on each side. Okay, now just place it down, and if you're happy with that, then push it down. Make sure if you're playing with photographs that you've got reasonably clean hands, because it does make a mark. And then I put my second piece of tape on and just go over, and you might find it's better like that to go over it with the back of your fingers, because you don't really want to leave a lot of fingerprints on there. So this one's going on here, and these two are going to go onto this one here like this. I'm going to have her going like that on there. Okay, so now I'm going to start putting up the pieces for the back. So what I'm hoping to do is have lots of different pieces of sizes of paper. I want them sort of like staggered. So let's have a look. I don't really want too many of the orange for this one. Alright, I want to make sure I've got a variety of different coloured paper, which will lift sort of like the paper off. Now you can now go, and those pieces which you used as well, like the big piece there, that would go nice over the top of those two pieces like that. There's a nice browny piece here which was a bigger piece, and that will sort of sit nicely over there. Okay, there's another sort of thick piece which I could sort of slide there and put that one in between, and I'm aiming for a sort of like, I don't want it all covered there, covering all the paper underneath, but I'm aiming for like a jaggedy sort of top to it, like that sort of thing. So that's the sort of thing I'm going for. So what I want to do, you can do your guillotine with this, or if you think you can cut it reasonably straight, I want to put my pictures on the top so they're going to sort of sit. So I want it sort of concertinaed in like that a little bit, then pop her on the side. Yeah, so that's the sort of thing I'm going for. Now looking at these pieces as I'm putting them in, I want to get them reasonably straight, and I want to come across and cut a reasonably straight edge. If you don't think that you can do it with your scissors, what you can do is take your guillotine, mark it with a pencil. So let's grab a pencil. I've got a pencil over there, silly. So I probably want that one to be slightly bigger. So if you're making it slightly bigger at the top, you probably want to make it slightly bigger just there. You can take that one and then take that to your guillotine and just trim it on that line, so that you can make sure that you get a nice straight cut if you're worried about the cut. If you do cut it and you think, oh, that's gone wrong, just take it over to your guillotine and just cut a tiny bit off it, so that's sort of, so you get the right sort of length coming through. Yeah, that's good. I don't want it sort of, but you can put that one on top of that one there like that, so that's gone on good. And then this one, let's have that one as a long piece. So I'm just going to cut it along here where the owl is. There, that's nice. And then the orangey one, I'm going to have a much shorter one for that one, so I'm going to cut it about there, mark it with a pencil. Where did I do it? Did mark it. I'm going to have it about here. Yeah, about here. So about there. Just put that through the guillotine. And just carry on until you've got them all cut into a nice design of something you like. Okay, just slide that one under. Yeah, so just carry on just doing that all the way across until that's all going in the design you want it to go in, and then we'll come back. I've got all my pieces cut. I'm just going to work out the design I really would like. So I'm just going to lay them down. I'm going to put some of the bigger pieces down first, I think, because I'd like those to sort of go underneath. Not so sure about that one. I might have to cut something else for that one. Just sort of like, because it's underneath it, sort of bit too matchy as the orange base. So those are my bigger base pieces, and then smaller, fatter pieces. I'm just going to sort of like play around with this. I mean, you don't have to have it, you can have them going like this, you can have it however you like that. There, yeah, that's good. I don't want that one. So that, yeah, I'll put that one there then. There. And then let's swap that one and that one over. That's better. Maybe not use that one. That's better. Right, I'm just going to cut a few more. Now, you can always cut your solids as well. Cut whatever pieces you had, which you liked. So we like this one. That would be a nice one for that one. So I'll cut on this straight line of that one. Put that one just down there like that. That's a good one for that one, I think. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I don't like that line on it though. Let's take that line off. And it's just really about playing with it and looking at what you like. That's better. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's much better. So I want that one to be a bit smaller, so I'm going to cut that one. I'm going to cut that one about here. And get that one in there and cut that one up. I always like to cut to this side of my line. So obviously if you're making it and you're doing something different, would you believe it? That is exactly the same size as the other piece. Let's try that one again. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's it. And then that longish one there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is put my picture on and see how that looks. Yeah, I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick down my big ones, but then what I want to do is I want to sort of like cross over these ones here a bit, so that that sort of stays on there. So what I'm going to do is just remove those a minute, and one at a time I'm going to stick down the bigger pieces. Okay, so just I'm just going to put the piece right down the centre there, like that. Put that one in there like that. There we go. Now, if you wanted to, you could take some ink on your ink stamps, on your ink pads, and you could distress the ends of these and make it look a bit more sort of rusticy, wintry, and that would also give that a chance to stand up. I didn't want to overwhelm anyone who was just starting out with something which was too much. So I'm just going to, if you notice that you've got a bit of tape coming out the top, just run your fingernail underneath the paper, okay? And then I'm going to put that one there at the edge. There we go. There, I think. Okay, right. And then I'm going to put my picture and just check that's okay. Yeah, I might need a bigger piece there as well, but let's have a look. So I'm going to go for that one, and I don't want that one there going near that one. So right, I'm going to just pop this over a bit because I want to get this tape onto this piece. Now this piece, the tape is going to be larger than the piece of paper. So all I'm going to do is just take the paper and just fold it over like that. Okay, on both sides. So that's not sticking up onto the front. If it sticks up onto the front, what you're going to get is you'll end up with anything which you put on top of it is going to stick to it, which isn't going to be too bad in this case, because it's going to be, I'm going to just marry that up like that. Yeah, that's good. And then I'm going to put the, I think I prefer the black over that one, so let's have the browny one there maybe. Yeah, I'm going to put the brown one there. Okay, so that's it. Okay, just, again, just go across and just fold that over. There we go, just all the way down. There you are. Okay, I'm just going to slot that one on the top. I'm just going to sort of, I don't want it to be too uniformed. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to put this piece here, this blue one, like that, there. And you can have them any way you want. It's just a way you could use up the scrap. You don't have to cut brand new pieces. You could use up any bits of scrap you want. And you saw my drawer, you could just go in through and say, right, I'm going to use up all these pieces of scrap today, and this is what I'm going to do with it. And you could use up all those bits and make several pages with just, you know, you can have you could even have a plain white piece of card for your background and just use up loads of scraps with it. Look at that one like that. There we go. I just noticed there's a bit of tape here, so I'm just going to turn that under. Okay, there we go. Put that one down like that. And then another one here. Okay, now you can get thinner tape of this ATC. You can get a much thinner one. I think you can get a fatter one as well. This is the medium size one, so that works quite well. That one, a bit of tape sticking up there. There, okay. So just do that. There we go. Alright, and then let's have a look. If I put that one, so it just comes out there. If I cut that one in half, because you're not going to see it, put a piece of tape on that. Okay. Pop that one down so it's running and coming over like that. Pop on my photo there, and I'm just going to get that edge of that so it marries up with the edge of that and it's in that line. I'm just going to pop that piece so that it would be coming out like that at the top of my line. Okay, might want to just wiggle that around a bit. Actually, no, I'll leave it like that. I will leave it like that. So that'll come out at the top over there somewhere. So taking that long piece there, wiggle that around so it was on the top of there. Want to make sure it's on the top, connect it like that. So it's sort of coming out of here, just where that one is. You want it to sort of marry up with the angle of the line. Alright, and then that'll cover that up there nicely. So that's sort of in with the angle of the line, not wonderful, but okay. And let's have a piece of what have we not got on there? No, I didn't want to use the orange really. What about that green? That's quite nice. And I'll pop that one on like that. So I'm just going to cut him. Scissors. There we go. And I'm going to pop that one on just like that. There. So he's coming on like that. Okay. Now with this, I've put it all the way along, but probably because you're just doing the ends, and it's only the end bits which are important, you could probably just put a little bit of tape on each end, to be honest with you. There we go. Alright, so that's my, yeah, I'm happy with that. I like that. So that's that. So I'm going to stick her down. There we go. And a bit on that side. And let's just get her lined up. So I'm just going to put it on like that so I can get a rough idea of where I'm placing her. So I know that my square is straight. There we go. I'm just going to lay on like that. Okay. And there we go. And then I'm going to pop that one and I'm going to put her just there, just like that, on there. And I mean, if you're just making this up for yourself and the children and the dogs, you don't have to use all this expensive stuff. You can just make it up so you enjoy yourself. Right. What have we got next then? Okay, so got that side done. So I've put on my happy up there and I'm quite happy with that. I'm happy with my happy. And I found this little tag and I think what I'm going to try and do is have a look and see if I've got letters to write. Let's see if I can fit out the letters Alice on there, because this is Alice, picture of Alice. So I'm just going to pop that on. Now, as I stuck those on, I like to do mine a bit like that. A lot of people like it to be absolutely straight, so what you can do if you want it straight to go across there straight is get your ruler and line it up with your lines exactly, and then put it on, and then put your bottoms of your letters onto your ruler, and that sort of just helps you to get it straight. But I think, you know, I like mine sort of be a bit more that way. Just me. Other people like to do it different, their own way, don't they? Everybody's got their own like ways to do things. Let's put an Alice on. No, I quite often use tweezers when I'm doing these letters, because they're much easier to go on. But they seem to be going on all right at the moment. And these are a great way of sort of making your sort of personalizing things, because you can put your own writing on there. It's really nice as well to do your own handwriting on pieces as well. That looks really nice as well. So I've got Alice there. You could put a little dot at the end, but I think I'm quite happy with that. So that's gone in okay, and I'm just going to, now this is a really old one, so it's not sticky on that at all. So I'm just going to, you can just put a piece of double-sided tape on it, but I'm just going to put a few more of these dots on it just to get it to stick a bit better. Don't need very many. There we go. Right, and there we go. I'm going to put Alice on there. I just wanted to show you how I make sure my pieces are going straight if I'm not going to use a whole piece. What I would do is put my photo so I know it's going to fit underneath it, and then use a piece, you can use your ruler or a piece of straight paper or anything, and stick that bit in that bit so that you know that they're going to be straight on your paper. Okay, so I think I finished. And this is the first one which you saw me do. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. That's kind of turned out really nice. Make bits and pieces, make sure there's no bits of paper on it. I'm happy with that. Okay, and this is the second one which I did. Okay, so when they go into the book, they should go together. And I don't know, I'm just going to lift you up so you can see both of them together. So they'll go into the book either like that, or might put them together. Yeah, I think they might go better like that in the book. Quite pleased with that. That looks nice. But the only thing I want to do now is I've got some stickles. These were £1.50, but I've had them for ever and ever. They do dry up eventually, but this isn't too bad. So I'm going to put some stickles just around this, because I thought, because that looks so pretty, I thought I'd put some on it, and I might put some on bits and pieces on the owls. I really like those owls, so yeah. Okay. Oh, hang on, I might have to have them that way round actually, because otherwise it would say autumn happy. I think that's better when it says happy autumn. Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah, I'm going to do it like that, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to put some stickles around there. Right, just move that out of the way. There we go. You'll find you get all these hundreds and hundreds of bits of paper. I should just put those over in the bin in a minute. Now when you start off with this, grab a piece of paper press and just get it coming out, because it comes out quite fast. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little tiny bit all the way around, and then I'm going to come around my finger and smudge it over, because I just want it to be on that little bit. This is going to take a while to dry. What you could do is put your heat gun on it if you wanted to, if you had a heat gun or a hairdryer, just to encourage that to dry a bit quicker. Okay, and you can see it comes out really nicely. There we go. And just rub it across with your fingers like that. There. You get a nice glittery finish on that. And that does dry lovely. And whilst I've got this on my fingers, just going to try and pop it around the outside of his eye. There, like that. Let's do a little bit more. You can do this with a little brush. And I think that's probably what I will pick up in a minute. Just to get that around his eye, in the area I want it. Just like that. That does really make a difference actually. I don't know what you think. Oh, that's too much. Oh, I've smudged it. Right, hang on a minute. There we go. I'll just get a cloth. There we go. Just wipe that off, and I'll just grab a paintbrush. Little thin paintbrush. I'm just going to move that around so it's in that eye section. There we go. Right, you can always put a bit more glitter onto that if you think you need it. But that's looking quite nice there. And out of this one, I'm going to just take that off and brush that away from where the eye is, because I didn't want it on that bit. Just wanted it on the eye itself. There we go. So I'm just going to put that around and just brighten that up a little bit. You don't want to press too hard, you just want it sort of stick down. I'll put a bit more on where I smudged it there. Is it coming out? What's going on? No, that's it. A bit more. Right, okay. I'll just smooth that around. You can see that does make a huge difference. It just brightens it up that little bit. So that's going to take, it takes at least an hour, if not longer, to dry. Okay, I'm just going to take some little bits of those bits I put over there, and I'm just going to dab some tiny bits onto those little flowers on his body. There we go. And you can just sort of liven it up a bit. Doesn't take a lot, just to sort of lift it up. It just sort of lifts it off the page, I think, once you've got something on it. And there are times when you think, no, that definitely wouldn't work, but I just felt he needed something else. Or she. So that's just lifting it up a little bit. Oh, not so flat anymore. Yeah, and I think I'm happy with that. There we go. So just give him a little bit more body, and it matches in with these ones over here a little bit better as well, I think. So I should do exactly the same with the owl on this one here, and I think then that will be, yeah, I think that's going to look nice. And I'll leave them to dry. I won't put them in the book, but that will be the final bit. So I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.